All right, I'm actually on trail number 3, entirely different trail now, and probably going to do a little bit less footage on this one, only because I think I've covered a lot of what I wanted to say. And let's kind of go back and recap here. Also, this they closed this area here at sunset, and it's about getting close to 4, so I gotta kind of get a move on here. And also my camera's getting a little bit low, even with that solar recharge I did when I stopped for my little break. So yeah, so let's recap. So the idea, obviously, I know it's fun to build a bug out bag. I got one myself, you know. The idea that you're gonna bug out to the woods is highly unlikely. There's really only a couple scenarios where that would happen. You'd be talking about, like, you know, such a catastrophic invasion of, hang on one second here, guys, I gotta find the trail. All right, we're good. Yeah, every once in a while, even on these like heavily traversed trails, there'll be like you could tell somebody's gone off in a different direction and blazed a new trail, and it can throw you off just a little bit. If I had more time, I'd like to go down and explore that one on the left, but I don't. So anyways, we're not, you know, chances of that kind of scenario are pretty slim. They really are. You know, like, I know you're thinking about like Red Dawn or something like that, right? Me too. You know, I like those movies, but it's much more likely that you'd have to bug in, you know. If you had to bug out, you know, it's more likely it's going to be to like a hotel or a friend's house, like we said earlier. But since we're talking about it, and since I'm out here kind of practicing some skills and whatnot, what are some of the concepts that you think that we would need, right? So number one, I kind of wish I had done this one earlier. This is in some ways a prettier trail. All right, you'll see as we're going. Number one, the shelter, right? So we talked about, if you're not bringing the shelter with you, if you're not bringing like a tarp and hammock or a little one-person tent like I like, then you're gonna need to be practicing your skills for building a shelter. And keep in mind that building a shelter is really, really caloric intensive. You're gonna burn and tire out. You're gonna burn a lot of calories and tire out a lot faster than if you had just kind of brought your own little mobile shelter. I'm actually gonna flip the camera here. I want you guys to see how pretty this is. All right, now this is one of the things I love about the South, is this Spanish moss. See that right there in the center of the screen? Love Spanish moss. Like, you know you're in the South when you see that. So let's just kind of keep going down this path here, and we'll walk and talk, and hopefully my volume's not changing too much on you, because I didn't hook up my mic, and there's not really any time to do that right now. All right, so yeah, this is a really pretty trail. Whoops, sorry, misstep. So this actually feeds into, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna give you a panoramic here in a second. This actually feeds into Lake Marion, which is one of our biggest sources of fresh water in South Carolina. So without looking it up, I assume this is fresh water. Did I say salt water? God, sorry. This is the other thing, is the mental game. Your mental game starts to get a little challenged when you're, you know, out there exerting yourself and whatnot. So this is one of the biggest sources of fresh water in South Carolina, okay? And I could probably drink from this if I boil it or purify it. I don't think this is salt water. We're too kind of inland. But where I usually am, most of my videos that you guys see me shooting in the Charleston coastal area, there's not a lot of freshwater sources out there. It's a real problem, and one of the main reasons why I don't think anyone would try to bug out in that immediate area. All right, so we were talking about shelter earlier, and this is, you could build another lean-to with very low calories off that, but I wouldn't, because first of all, that's a widowmaker. If that thing lands on you in the middle of the night, you're not coming home. And it is not, the big thing for me is two things, is this is definitely decayed more than that other one that I showed you. I mean, that's pretty obvious. And it is not wedged into, the other one was wedged into a tree that was living and it was very healthy. So this would be a no-go for me. Not a chance. So what else? We talked about fresh water. We talked about shelter. I showed you that fat wood there that you would have to have a way, well, not necessarily. If you were trying to really be stealthy, you wouldn't be doing a fire. And if you had to, you would do a Dakota fire pit. But even then, that's kind of detectable more so than people realize. So what else do you need? If you were going to do a fire, you need to have a fire building kit, something to make fire, preferably at least 3 different ways. And you're gonna need to find some resources, like if it's been raining a lot, you're gonna have to find some fat wood or maybe some pine sap, things like that, if you don't have fire starters with you. What about food? You know, you guys saw that I packed in some food, but as we were going, I was also identifying, you know, wild edibles in places where small game might be. Now, I'm not a big game hunter. Obviously, I would try if I was starving, but I think I would have a lot more success with small game like rabbits, squirrels, things like that. So just some concepts there to think about. Yes, I would eat wood grubs if it came down to it. I think there's worse things to eat than wood grubs. Supposedly they taste kind of nutty. But you know, I know a lot of the wild edibles in my state, and actually a lot of the wild edibles on the East Coast. So, you know, I think I'd be okay there. For a while anyways. We got food, fresh water, shelter. Yeah. The problem is, another problem with the idea of bugging out is eventually, you know, even like somebody who's a really skilled woodsman, right? Even somebody who maybe like has had SEER training or special forces, you know, the mental aspect of it starts to wear you down, right? So humans now live in houses and we kind of like it. It's climate controlled. I like it. I love air conditioning. We don't like getting rained on that much, right? So even if you build a really good shelter, you know, that's gonna start to, oh, little turtle, sorry, he's gone, he's under the water. I'll show you where he was though. So that little log there was a little turtle. He's a survivor too, because he saw me. Humans are the greatest predator, right? And he saw me and he immediately went underwater. Smart little guy. Oh, there's 3 over there. See them? Hang on, I'm gonna blow up the camera. Or 2. See if I can get them right in the middle of the shot. See those? I bet you if I got any closer, they'd bail. But there's fish in this water too, and there's a lot, you know, there's a lot of food out here. If you were, you know, when you're thinking about your locations, your bug out locations, you gotta have fresh water, you gotta have an abundance of food. So back to the mental aspect of it, and I am, I think I'm halfway through this trail. I don't know, I haven't done this one before. We still got a few hours of sunlight, so I'm not worried about it at all. But anyways, the mental aspect of it is, sorry, found some mushrooms here, guys. These are jack-o'-lanterns. They're not edible, so I'm just gonna give you a quick look at them. All right, not 100% sure, and I'm not gonna pick them right now. Not 100% sure, and I'm not gonna pick them right now because I wanna just keep moving. I think those are jack-o'-lanterns, and if they're jack-o'-lanterns, they are not edible. I would have to pick it and cut it open to see for sure. They don't look like chants to me. Now, chanterelles are edible, and the big difference is really on the gills, and if you cut it open, it should be a chanterelle slices open like string cheese. These will not. These have a hollow inside, if that's what these are. And again, I'm not gonna mess with it right now. But the reason that caught my attention is that chanterelles have an orange and golden color. There's a few different varieties of them, and that's what I saw looking under the tree there. All right, so I'm gonna turn the camera here and you can see behind me. See these branches over here, over that little portion of the creek or stream? Those could be used for passive fishing if I was out here. Right? Or I could set some snares over here because it looks pretty obvious to me. I'm gonna show you again here. I go down low to the ground. I'm gonna show you here down low to the ground. See how that's kind of worn behind me? There's probably a lot of game in this woods that are headed down there to get their water in the morning and at nighttime. So I could set some snares along the way here if I needed to do that. These again, just concepts in outdoor living, concepts in bugging out. But I'll tell you what, the only few times that I've ever had to bug out in my life, it was to a hotel. And there are people who will say, I'll never bug out. Right? I worked with a guy who said he'll never bug out because he can't take his 15 cats with him. This guy had 15 cats, and I'm not judging. I like pets. You guys know I like pets. But he said there's no way he would do it. And I said, you realize that if like there's a chemical spill in the area or something like that, they can force you to evac. Well, I don't know if they really can, but they're not going to help you, or they might not be able to help you if you choose not to. So there are situations where you might be forced might not be the best word for it, but you might be forced to evac, right? Wildfires is another good example. So think about what I just said there. Wildfires, chemical spills, right? Those are situations where you probably could be in a situation where you might have to evac, right? You might have to bug out. And in neither of those situations are you gonna bug out to the woods. Or maybe some of you will, but I just don't see it. You're gonna bug out to a hotel or a friend's house. That's all I'm saying. And it's good to practice this stuff. You know, I feel so recharged being out here. This is how I recharge my battery. You know, it's good to connect with our primitive skill set. It's good to connect with nature. I love plants, I love wildlife. So there's other reasons to do it besides Red Dawn, okay? And it's fun. It's fun. And I love gear, I love gadgets. I do a lot of product reviews for y'all. That's all I'm saying. All right, I'm gonna start thinking about getting out of this trail and heading on back to my camp, have a little food and call it a night. Oh, so I wanted to say, check this out. So I wanted to say the mental aspect, that's what I wanted to finish off with. There's my ADD, you know. And this is why, like when I play outside like this, my ADD starts to get better. It starts to calm down, or at least it feels that way to me. I feel like my brain is finally starting to unwind. But the mental aspect, if you were out here literally by yourself, right? There's been psychology studies where basically after 30 days, only 30 days, your mental health starts to deteriorate. And that may start small, getting some anxiety or something like that. But eventually, when people have done stuff like that, when they've isolated with no human contact for more than 30 days, they start to get hallucinations and they lose touch with what's real and what's not. Something to think about. So this guy, at the time of filming this, that Brian Laundry guy is on the run. I think he's in Appalachia, somewhere off of the trail a little bit. The reason I say that is if you watch the police body cam footage, he says how much he loved the Appalachian Trail when he was out there. He talked about that. And on his Instagram, he mentioned something. He was doing a piece of artwork with Gabby and had talked about how they had used some of the plants from the trail or plants from hiking, things like that. So I get the idea that this guy probably had some wilderness survival skills. Was he Dave Canterbury? No, but a little bit of survival skills will go a long way. So he probably could hide for quite a while, but eventually the mental game is going to take a toll. Sorry, just little armadillo burrows or something. They're all over the place. If I end up trapped out here at nighttime, it's going to be the attack of the armadillos. So anyways, the pack feels really comfortable. No problems there. It's a workout, and it's predominantly, it's not so much for me the heat. I mean, I'm sorry, it's not so much the pack, it's the heat. The heat is really wearing me down. After like only walking a couple miles, I felt it. Now, of course, throw me on a treadmill in the gym, I can do a whole lot better than that, but that's not real world conditions, is it? So if you're watching my video and you're thinking, you know, oh, it was only a 5 mile bug out. Okay, well, make your video, show me how to do it then. And if you really want to see somebody do it right, go watch my friend Titan Preparedness. That dude did it legit. I really appreciate y'all. If you enjoyed this video at all, if you've gotten any kind of value out of it, please consider giving me a thumbs up. If you're brand new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I drop videos at least twice a week, always topics related to wilderness survival, prepping, foraging, medicinal herbs, medicinal plants, gardening, for food self-sufficiency, financial preparedness, basically anything that helps you to be a better you. Keep planting your seeds, keep stacking your silver. This is Prepping with Sarge.